What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here. It is time, finally, to get to a Madden 26 Philadelphia Eagles realistic rebuild where we're going to use college classes for 2026 and 2027, and we're going to draft some players here that hopefully can win a couple more Super Bowls for the Philadelphia Eagles, but more importantly, fix this team that has apparently been rotten to the core. I am going to take control like Howie Roseman gave me the keys. How would I fix this team after blowing a 21-point lead against the Cowboys and giving them momentum in the division to potentially come back and steal it away after getting absolutely smashed by the Chicago Bears on Black Friday? If you watch the box score, you might say, well, kind of close. No, was not close at all. I thought about just doing a video about how I'd fix the team. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a rebuild. I'm going to do a rebuild, and I'm going to show how I would fix the team. Now, after Thanksgiving, I've already started. I'm halfway done a Detroit Lions realistic rebuild. So that is on pause right now. Kind of felt like I was throwing rocks in a glass house, kind of complaining about like Detroit is blowing their window of being able to compete for a Super Bowl, and like this is what's wrong with Detroit. I was like, you know what? Let me fix Philly first because my team's the laughingstock of the NFL, and then we can go fix the Detroit Lions. So the good news is there's going to be a Detroit Lion realistic rebuild coming probably sooner than our regular rebuild upload schedule because it's almost done. Taking a look at the Eagles at 8-4. I still think we're going to make the playoffs. I still think we're going to win the division, but this team sucks right now. This offense sucks right now. This defense is gassed right now. How am I going to fix this team? We're going to look at the team from an in-real-life standpoint, but you also need to take the fact in that Philly's usually a tricky, just general Madden franchise because you can't replicate the Howie Roseman salary cap wizardry in Madden. So you have a very expensive roster. You're going to lose a lot of players. You have a lot of win-now players as well that, you know, A.J. Brown at 28, soon to be 29. Lane Johnson is up there in age a little bit. Got a couple guys on defense that are getting up there a little bit. It is a very challenging rebuild within his own right, let alone right now within the context of, like, I have to take real-life Eagles also into effect and how I would try to fix and get this team situated right. Number one issue is the offensive coordinator. Can't really make that change here in Madden until the offseason. I'll tell you right now, we're going to be changing the offense up and might even fire Nick, if I'm being honest with you. But I would say if offensive coordinator is issue number one with this Eagles team, issue number two is the offensive line has not been playing well. Now, Lane Johnson is not out for the year. Sounds like, you know, Philly had to win the last week of the season. I bet you he'd return. My plan is assuming that we can make the playoffs. He'll be out to the playoffs, and he will be back for that first playoff game. But, I mean, Big Fred's pretty solid depth player and definitely much better than a 64 overall. I will say that. Madden is kind of dogging him a little bit. But the craziest thing is, like, this Eagles offense is the same offense that belt-assed the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, except we don't have Mekhi Becton at right guard. We went with Tyler Steen. Tyler Steen is an average lineman, and Mekhi Becton went to the Chargers, and he's not been particularly great there. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying, we lost an elite player that's gone off and elevated another team. But the fact that there's like one player difference and one offensive coordinator can destroy all of what we saw in that Super Bowl is mind-boggling to me. And I think Kevin Patullo at offensive coordinator is the biggest problem, but the offensive line is certainly not helping. I think the whole left-hand side of the offensive line is playing at like 60% health. Jordan Mailata's had like a core injury. Landon Dickerson is incredibly beat up. We thought he was going to be done for the year, picking up an injury in the preseason. Cam Jurgens has also been banged up. I said on my second channel, when Cam Jurgens had a back surgery, I would not have paid him a contract extension. I would have made him come back for that final year just to see, hey, are you the same player? How many players have injured their back bad and been the same player coming off it? I was always very suspect of that injury. And the fact of the matter is these three players are, like, right, if I'm going off of, like, rating and you want to just put it from a Madden standpoint, like, subtract 10 overall from each one of these players. And I truly believe it's because of injury. So that left-hand side is incredibly banged up. We're down Lane Johnson. We cannot run the football. Saquon Barkley also looks like, remember DeMarco Murray when he was an Eagle? That's what Saquon Barkley looks like this year. He looks like he's afraid of contact. He looks like he wants to play like a 200-pound running back and constantly just try to dance and make guys miss in the backfield. It almost feels like he's trying to hit the highlight reel play versus getting the yards that are there. I want to see more Tank Bigsby. That is the state of our run game. I'm not going to say that Saquon's washed. We were expecting some regression from the heavy workload that he had a year ago. But I think Saquon is not playing well, and the offensive line is not playing well, so you're kind of getting a double whammy. Jalen Hurts has been fine. I think there's been plenty of games this year that Jalen Hurts has been the best player on the Eagles team. I think there's been plenty of games this year where Jalen Hurts has also not elevated the offense, and he's had a couple stinkers. Game against Chicago that happened last night was a Jalen Hurts stinker, but still, he has 27, 28 touchdowns to 2 picks. He's not the issue with this offense. But there comes a point in time when you have your franchise quarterback, when you have a Super Bowl MVP quarterback, that when things are going wrong, when the play calls are dog shit, you need your special players to elevate this offense. And unfortunately, I can't think of right now, as of Saturday morning, one game where Jalen Hurts just took the game over and willed this team to win. And, there's going to be just neutral, casual haters say, well, Jalen Hurts is not that quarterback. There have been games in his career where Jalen Hurts is like, oh, yeah, we won that game because of Jalen Hurts. Doesn't happen a crazy amount, right? I think that is why even biased Eagle fans aren't saying he's a top 3, top 5 quarterback. But he is a good enough quarterback that he can put the team on the back, and he hasn't done that enough this year. That is my one knock against Jalen Hurts. Devonta Smith has been incredible as always, and I think if you were a non-Eagle fan rebuilding the Eagles right now, you'd be like, I'm trading A.J. Brown the first offseason. Maybe from a salary cap standpoint, that needs to be something we consider. Maybe I see what kind of value we can get from him, but I'm Team A.J. Brown. In a year for a team between the head coach, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, get all the media, always talk after the games, giving coach speak answers. People trying to cast A.J. Brown as the next Terrell Owens. Everything A.J. Brown has said that has been, it's been true. This team sucks. This team has constantly, from an offensive standpoint, for having one of the most expensive or the most expensive offense in the league, underperformed. The fact that the defense has carried the load the whole season long. None of these guys are playing up to their contracts. And that's pretty much what A.J. Brown is saying. I do think there's a little bit of, he wants to get that one last big contract extension, and his stats aren't probably going to get him that. But I'm Team A.J. Brown in this situation, so I'm going to be hard-pressed to trade him. The defense, well, not a great week to try to say that the defense has been really good after what happened against Dallas scoring 24 straight points and what happened against the Chicago Bears rushing for over 200 yards. But generally speaking, the defense has been very good. This is a Super Bowl caliber defense. The defensive line, Ojomo has been better than Milton Williams, who we lost for $100 million to the New England Patriots. Probably the worst, lowest, most incorrect rating for a player, I think, on the Eagles. Like, he needs to be like an 80 star. Jalen Carter, slow start to the year, but absolute monster. I think Jordan Davis has been even better. I think these two have been incredible, and for a lot of Eagle fans, we've been talking about we can't go crazy in free agency like we did last year because we got to pay Jalen Carter. I had to pay Jordan Davis too. I'd be very hard-pressed to let these guys walk. I think you want to try to keep these two players and how he might have to pivot. And I'm going to have an interesting decision to make from a salary cap standpoint. The linebacking core, Zach Bond has been great. Nakobe Dean, since he got back from injury, has been great. He's in a contract year. They drafted Jahad Campbell, I think, because they assumed that Nakobe Dean was going to walk in free agency. Jahad Campbell, before Nakobe Dean came back from injury, was like running away with Defensive Rookie of the Year. And since Nakobe Dean's return, he literally played 0 snaps against the Bears. That's a pro because I don't think Nakobe Dean needs to get benched. He's been awesome. But I think Vic Fangio needs to do a better job of getting these three on the field, getting a little bit more creative with his defense. Nolan Smith's been solid this year. Jalix Hunt has been inconsistent, but when it's good, I mean, for a guy that's, 4 years removed for being a safety at Cornell, I still think there's a lot of upside on Jalix Hunt. I think he's another one of those guys that his rating's probably a little bit lower than what it should be in Madden. Made the trade to get Jalen Phillips. He's been awesome since he's come here again, but from a contract rebuild standpoint, he's pretty much a rental unless we can figure out a way to re-sign him. The safety room, Reed Blankenship's been solid. I mean, for a guy that has, looking to get paid at some point, I don't know if I've seen enough out of part 2 of The Exciting White to be like, we have to re-sign Reed Blankenship. Makuba, before he had a season-ending injury, started out not great, looked like a rookie, but down the stretch, he's been solid. Was one of my favorite players in the draft class, so I was glad that we were able to bring him in. We got the Canadian Sidney Brown filling in. Sidney Brown's more of a special teamer, if we're being honest. The corner room, though, the two starters, obviously Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, cornerstones. They're going to be cornerstones for this rebuild. I hope that we can figure out the salary cap situation to keep and retain them. But, yeah, man, how do we fix the Philadelphia Eagles? We'll find out. Well, that's great, losing 49-17 to the Chargers. Sick. Not force winning, force losing for anything as well. That is a if this happened in real life, I don't know. You may need to do a wellness check. The cool news is we got a potential X Factor breakout for Jalen Carter. So yeah, 5 tackles, 2 TFLs. Let's see if he can do it. Good matchup too against the Raiders to do it. One of the worst offensive lines going. All right, nice. Win the game. We get a player of the week going to Jalen Hurts with 4 touchdowns. Need to see that out of him. Oh, let's go! Jalen Carter, superstar X Factor. Finally. That's the most excited I've been about the Eagles in like a month. So from a contract extension standpoint, we have $67 million in salary cap. I think most Eagle fans can agree that, you know, after winning the Super Bowl, Philly barely spent any money last year. And I think that's all because they want to plan for the future and the contracts that we have coming up. So with that being said, I like Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert is still underrated if you're rating the top 5 tight ends in the NFL. But I don't think at this price point it'd be smart to bring him back. I think Jalen Phillips has been awesome. I'd love to honestly find a way to keep Jalen Phillips, but I think it's all this move with the trade with the Dolphins have been, you know, the idea is it's probably going to be a 1-year rental. I'd say if Howie finds a way to re-sign him, absolutely, man. He brings a lot of juice. I think he'd be a great part of our pass rush rotation. I think I'll tell you right now, that price point for Nakobe Dean, absolutely. I think that is much cheaper than what he'd be in real life. But I think that's a contract we absolutely can make. And I will say, in the business of every fan thinks their favorite players are going to take a hometown discount and take below market to stay with the team, I think for Philadelphia, my bias, my blinder, where it's probably not going to be real life, is I think with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nakobe Dean all kind of being in that bubble of players that want to get paid at the same time, I think they would take not significantly less money. I think they would, as a trio, figure something out. Try. They would at least try to stay together and give Howie, like, you know, work their money around or whatever. I think, man, I like Reed too. I'm a fan of Reed Blankenship. He was a guy way back in the day. I had him as a UDFA target that I really wanted Philly to sign. They brought him in. I've had a couple hits like that over the years. I remember Trey Burton was one as well. $7 million a year almost. Like, that's one of those contracts we pay him, and we won't be able to pay like Jordan Davis or something like that. So I think big picture, we're going to let one half of the exciting whites walk. Everyone else, best of luck. So at the end of the year, the Philadelphia Eagles do end up scraping into the playoffs. We go 11-6 on the season, able to hold off the Dallas Cowboys. We go 10-6. First round, I mean, that's an awesome game right there against Detroit. A little bit of a rematch back at Lincoln Financial Field. We had Jared Goff in absolute hell. What was it, like 6 turnovers the defense forced in that matchup. Take a look at our player stats to end the year. Jalen Hurts, just outside top 10, 32 touchdowns to 4 picks. That's probably like the pace that he is on this season, so that's fairly realistic. Saquon did at least go over 1,000 yards, where it does kind of feel like right now that might not happen. I'm crying. I think something also be interesting is, will Jalen Hurts kind of keep up the scrambling numbers in the sim? I think he does pretty well with the Eagles playbook, but we will see. Receiving, we get at 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns for Devonta Smith, under 1,000 for A.J. Brown, which you don't love to see. I think in a scenario perfectly, the Philadelphia Eagles, you get both these guys over 1,000. So that's not going to help A.J. Brown. Honestly, it might cause him to lose his superstar dev. And then A.J. Brown as a star dev doesn't look as good, if we're being honest. Defensively, Zach Bond, tackle machine. Jod Campbell and Cooper DeJean over 100 tackles. We got just disgustingly low sack numbers, which is probably, when all is said and done, not going to look good for Philadelphia in real life either. But we did get the X Factor on Jalen Carter, so that's pretty badass. Cooper DeJean leading the team with 3 interceptions. Probably could also do better in that department. Early award winner Jalen Hurts ended up beating Matt Stafford for quarterback of the year in the NFC. Cool. All right, can the Eagles beat the Lions twice? Or is Detroit going to be able to get avenge that loss? Let's see. 7-7. Detroit already, both these already more points scored than in the first game through one quarter. But if Philadelphia and everyone's talking about the Eagles are 2013 Philadelphia again, getting smashed in the first round of the playoffs, probably the icing on the cake to be that team again. And there we go. One and done in the playoffs. We fall 27-14. And if this happened in real life, the sky would be falling. Everyone would be calling for Nick Sirianni's head. What does he bring to this team? Jalen Hurts played fine. Saquon Barkley did not. Run game non-existent. Devonta Smith showed up. A.J. Brown did not. Defensively, no sacks, no turnovers. Bad vibes. Wow, so the Eagles unable to defend their Super Bowl title, and the Seahawks with Sam Darnold come out of nowhere. Huh. Yeah, BG retired, but tell me right now, first win, Lane Johnson does not retire, so that is, to start what is going to be a huge offseason for the Eagles, a big win for him not to. I honestly don't think he will. I mean, I think if somehow, after the injury that he had, he's kind of had an injury-plagued season, if Philly can win a Super Bowl this year, I think he would retire. I think if we miss out, I think he's going to try to run it back for one more season. And until he gets an X Factor. What? From what? Linemen don't get X Factors. He regresses quite considerably, 3 overall points, and they give him an X Factor. Have you guys ever seen that? Like, he didn't win Lineman of the Year or anything. Outside of that, Devonta Smith goes from superstar up to an X Factor. A.J. Brown at least doesn't regress. That is certainly a win. Saquon Barkley didn't regress. Outside of 1 overall point, falling from a 99 to a 98. So that's okay. Generally, for how bad the offense was and underwhelming, great for us. Great news. On the defensive side of the ball, we got Zach Bond from superstar up to an X Factor. Nakobe Dean from normal up to a star. We have Makuba's depth trade as a star. Kuba Dejeen is now a superstar. How did he get that? 100 tackles. I guarantee he got it from having over 100 tackles. He did. But first thing is first, to start the offseason, Joseph Durning, a.k.a. Kevin Patullo, get the fuck out of here. The bad news is not one real coach got fired that we could hire, so we'll have to wait till next year. And we're going to start by declining the 5th-year option on Jalen Carter so we can get ahead of that contract extension. You know what, though? Knowing how Philly's going to operate, I think they would accept the 5th year on Nolan Smith to get one more year to see if he's going to develop into a double-digit pass rush sack guy, or is he going to be more of just, a relentless pursuit run defender? Because that drastically changes how you're going to evaluate him from a contract standpoint. So we're actually going to accept. Again, I'm trying to realistically, what would I do if I'm in Philly? I'm going to pay Jalen Carter as soon as I can. I want to see a little bit more to Nolan Smith before I commit big-time money. Now, from manipulating the roster standpoint, I am going to take Michael Carter. We traded from the Jets, who can play safety. They've talked to Vic about it during the press conferences that he could be also a safety. I'm going to move him to free safety for the time being, just because I think looking at the landscape, we don't need 2 good nickel corners. So the fact that he's kind of like, think of him like Avonte Maddox a little bit, we're going to move him at safety back there with Makuba. Now, for free agency, we're letting Dallas Goedert walk. We're interested to see where he ends up. That price point, we're not going to get in a bidding war there. Where we could get better. Again, it's not a crazy free agency class. There's not much out there on the market. So I think, again, we got to kind of think keeping money here to keep our in-house players. Kind of funny, Dallas is going to lose George Pickens. George Pickens goes to the Seahawks. Dallas Goedert goes to the Seahawks. They just won the Super Bowl. What are they doing? So by sitting up free agency, we're going to have to hit on the draft. We do have some good draft capital, 1st, 2nd, 3rd round. Looking at where the mock draft is going, who do we have available? For the Eagles, picking at 21, we are currently projected to go edge rusher. And with Kenyon Sadiq at 19, tell you what, that's not happening. And I love Uliangililei. That's not happening. That's not happening even just from a rebuild standpoint. I can't let the Chiefs get a Travis Kelce 2.0. Not happening. Of course, Dallas is in front, so we'll have to call old D'Amico Ryans, Mufasa, former Eagle linebacker. And I think in this scenario, the trade makes even more sense, because I think for the Philadelphia Eagles, tight end, tackle, and corner are your needs. And with Lane Johnson not retiring, you can kind of kick that can down the road till next year. So that means corner and tight end. And with the run on corners, with Jermod McCoy going 11, Mansour Delane going 13, Terrell going 14, hell, you even literally have like reaches. Chris Johnson at 15, AJ Harris at 16. All the corners are gone. So it's time to get aggressive. So we're going to make a trade here, sending a first, our pick. We don't have to make a huge trade, going from 21 to 17. We threw in a third-round pick and Jacorian Bennett, who's a scheme fit to the Texans, to move up and leapfrog. Again, I think the Texans, in their case, are going to be able to get who they wanted at 17 at 21. And this way here, we keep a great player going to the Chiefs, which will help the Texans. And it screws over the Cowboys, so I imagine there's still some rivalry there. But for us, I mean, we do have an option. Mansour Delane is scouted out as a round one talent corner. And seeing the Eagles' issues at corner, right, can make you think like that's where you got to go. But I think for me, watching how he plays, Kenyon Sadiq, I'd be pretty hard pressed. I mean, that'd be tough. Those would probably be the two top players right now. I think I'd love for Philadelphia, but I think this needs to be done to prevent the Chiefs from getting him. That's the tiebreaker. I think Delane, Kenyon, Sadiq, all things equal, interesting. I think from a Madden rebuild where we're at standpoint, not letting the Chiefs just insert this guy into the Travis Kelce cheese sim roll, very important. Kenyon Sadiq ends up being number 4 in true value at pick 17. Does it all, man. He is probably the most athletic, best pass catching, by far best run blocking tight end in the draft this year. A perfect fit for the Philadelphia Eagles to succeed Dallas Goedert. The only thing that I need is he needs to sim. We need to have our tight end, if we're investing this type of draft capital, has to be productive in our sim while also keeping Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown productive as well. And up next for the Eagles as second round, I'm going to tell you right now, Dylan Thieneman, strong safety, would have been high up on my draft board if he was still there. Looking at the rest of all the picks, honestly, a pretty decent round for us. So again, we're back here. We are looking for a couple different options. I think offensively, it's never too early to look for a tackle. The tackle needs to be there. We're not going to reach, and there's not really much left here in the second round. Defensively, I think like someone like Overton, there's good value there, especially if long-term we don't really know what we're going to do with Nolan Smith. So he's probably BPA, honestly. I feel pretty good about D-tackle. I think our salary cap's in a good spot there. Linebacker, we're fine. And then when you kind of shift to the corners here, I mean, like someone like Kilgore, as much as I like Sidney Brown, like Sidney Brown's kind of a liability. You bring in Kilgore, you can kind of play at that spot. But at corner, I literally just watched Jair Hill get an interception against Ohio State. C-man, B catching, the best athlete available. B tackle, 20 years old, high upside. Let's do it. How about you just got to pick literally 45 seconds ago. Be a good player. 66 at 53. Great athlete, no dev trait though. I bet you, I already know for a fact Kilgore has a dev trait. I've used him before, so fuck. Let's go get him. If Hill was a dev trait player, I think I would have stayed put. I'm going to trade 2 3s and a 4 going off of the trade value pick. I'm overpaying, I would say, considerably. But if I'm doing something like this, because I know there's something there, we got to do it. Jalen Kilgore, DB, 38 at 57 with the dev trait. Sorry, Sidney Brown. But you're a fun special teamer. Let's leave it at that, man. We got a good relationship. You're a fun special teamer. 5th round, I think we're looking BPA, man. I'm intrigued by Antonio Williams still being on the board here. B catch traffic, former like top recruit. productive Clemson. We need that third receiving option. I think there's a very good shot. He's be like a 136 true value, 138. We'll take that. I think next two we'll go Dominique Orange. Just some nose tackle depth in case things don't work out. We got Moro, Jomo, and Jordan Davis needing to get paid. I'd love to keep both, but in case we can't, we get Orange here with a dev trait. They give us some great cover and upside at D-tackle. So take a look at the draft recap for somewhat limited picks because of the trades and being aggressive. I think good class. Orange 68 with the dev trait, 69 for Williams, 74 dev trait on Kilgore, 72 normal on Hill. You know, I think, doesn't really separate him from the depth corners that we do have, like your Keely Ringos and stuff, but at 20 years old, there's still a lot of upside there, and I mean, just elite athletic profile. 20 years old, 72, 97 acceleration, 93 speed, 94 agility. We can develop into a guy, but Keyon Sadiq, perfect pick for the Eagles at pick 17. Thank you very much, D'Amico Ryans, for doing business with us. All right, we got a hot start, 2-0, but with the contracts that we have, we want to get ahead of it right now because the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost. So we have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. We got to pay Jalen Carter right away. He's got to get a bigger extension than that, but for the sake of this rebuild, 5 year. We'll get him on a 3-year, just lock him in for the rest of the rebuild. Yeah. I mean, this is real life. At this point, Philly may think and consider cashing on Tanner McKee. But for us, we got to keep the boys here. The Georgia Bulldogs together. Let's go. And hopefully next year we can pay the quarters. Just because we're at the bye bid seat, we are about to assing everybody here. This is the kind of rebuild I think I need as an Eagle fan. Just smash the Cowboys off our bye week. Jalen Hurts 5 touchdowns. We are now 9-1, 2 wins in a row. We get a double player of the week. Saquon running the ball. Keyon Mitchell. And I can only imagine this defensive back breakout is for Q. Last year we hit on the Jalen Carter superstar to superstar X Factor breakout. And we get it with Q. That he straight up give us the X Factor. Let's go. So the interview number 2, we go 14-3. But a Week 18 loss to the Jags ends up costing us the 1 seed in the NFC. That goes to the 14-3 Packers, who we did beat 3 weeks ago. But back-to-back NFC East titles for the Philadelphia Eagles. Feel pretty good about that. Don't love our defensive ratings. Love our offensive ratings. Take a look at the stats. Saquon Barkley ends up the leading rusher, so back to normal for him. Jalen Hurts, top 5 in passing yards, number 2 in the league in touchdowns. 41 touchdowns to 5 interceptions on the year. He also got 6 rushing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns for Tank Bigsby. This offense is pretty terrifying. Very frustrating knowing how they play in real life. Receiving, we can't get 2,000-yard receivers. But A.J. Brown this time goes for 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, 9-12 for Devonta Smith. Solid year to Johnny Wilson. The rookie Kenyon Sadiq, 700 yards, 4 touchdowns. Not upset with that. Saquon productive out of the backfield. Defensively, Jod Gamble, tackle machine, Bond, Kilgore up there with total tackles. We get 10 sacks, Jalen Carter, 8.5 from Nolan Smith, 7 from Jordan Davis, 6.5 for Jalen Hunt, 5 from Jahad Campbell. So, that's all really reasonable within the end. That's excellent for us for paying Jordan Davis, which may be, if you rebuild the Eagles, you may not pay Jordan Davis. I'm happy that we got an immediate return on investment there. Shout out Q. Gets that X Factor in season. Absolutely earned it, though. 6 interceptions on the year. Oh, wow. Jalen Hurts loses out on MVP. Goes to Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts wins quarterback of the year. Make it make sense. Saquon wins running back of the year. Lane Johnson runs away with lineman of the year. And we get Keyon Mitchell, DB of the year with the 6 picks. And Jake Elliott wins kicker of the year. Look at that. We get a rematch of last year's wildcard round. This year, the Eagles, much more intact. What we do know is we weren't able to get a straight-up new scheme, new offense, but we were able to fire Kevin Patullo, just for storyline purposes. And look at where the Eagles are back to. A wagon, expected to go to the Super Bowl. But we were in this position a year ago, and Detroit just smashed us. Our team was in downfall, spiral, had no answers. This year is going to be different. This year, our defense is playing a lot better. Our offense is a lot more consistent. Jalen Hurts, pissed off, should have been MVP. We got a Cooper DeJean interception helping us keep that 3-point lead, but we are all tied up at 10, and there is looking like a way that Detroit becomes A team that we can't get past. 17-17. Everything comes down to this. 2:49 to go win it. We go to overtime. Touchdown, Detroit. Touchdown. Good guys. And new overtime rules. We lose again to the Lions. Fuck! So, very similar to Jason Kelsey, we ruined the final year of one of the greatest players in franchise history. So that's going on, Nick. So you know what? The fucking time is now, dude. Get out of my team. I can't fire him. I mean, I could fire him. But, well, once again, you're going to be the CEO. What do we have for coordinators? Oh, it's all going to be fake guys again. Sick. Yes, great. Yes! Let's go. We're winning the Super Bowl next year. Let's go. Now, as far as depth traits are concerned, well, a lot of X factors. We've got very generous roles. Like Devonta Smith didn't get 1,000 yards, didn't lose a dev trait. A.J. Brown last year didn't get 1,000 yards, didn't lose his superstar, had a hell of a year this year. X factor. Keyon Sadiq, only a star dev, maybe surprising. Not my class. I probably want to give him a superstar. But with the retirement of Lane Johnson, that was expected. We talked about it during last year's draft, that with Lane not retiring after year one, kick that can down the road. But this year, we have to go tackle in the first round. Defensively, we got Zach Bond. Jahad Campbell makes the jump from star up to superstar. Jalen Kilgore's dev trait just started. Man, I felt like the last time we used Jalen Kilgore, it was a different draft class. Same creator, different update. I feel like he was a superstar in the last class. We have DeJean superstar, Keyon a X factor, and really, honestly, all eyes on this rebuild are going to come to the contract extensions. Can we find a way to keep Keyon, Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean? The way that I'm thinking about it is just probably if we don't re-sign Nolan Smith, who's not really earning a contract extension, I think we can make Q and DeJean happen. So with that being said, we're going to decline the fifth-year option on Keyon Mitchell. And yeah, we're going to let a lot of our depth walk. So we got to crush it during this draft. 69, nice! $1 million of salary cap. We're not signing anybody. We're keeping our own players. Mock draft 5 has been posted. And we are picking at the bottom. So let's see what we have here. Eagles are picking at 24. We are projected to get Knapp. We have Gooseby at tackle at 22. Seaton at 19. Again, this is just your classic. We might have to fucking trade up because we got Carter Smith, Indiana. I've used him in a rebuild. Braden Baker, Texas. Jude Bowery from Boston College. So a couple options are certainly there. But I think maybe Gooseby at 22. Because the Jets don't need a tackle. Right? You have Fashanu. You have Membu. That could be our sweet spot to trade up. But we'll do our due diligence. We'll scout all the tackles that are within our area code just to make sure we can make the best informed choice. And out of that, Seaton is around 1. Gooseby and Carter Smith both. I mean, hey, maybe we... I'm thinking we stay put. We'll let Gooseby go at 22, even though that's stupid. If he's the same, it'd probably cost him, but we're saving a third-round pick next year. We have Carter Smith scouted out. A pass block from Indiana. Indiana, they know how to develop players. 40, oh no. We get the dev trait. 82 strength though, Jesus Christ. But hey, Carter Smith, no pressure, just replace Lane Johnson. Now the next pick, very interesting for us. Kenyatta Jackson still there on the board. Like, I feel like edge rush could be the position. But the edge rush market sucks. Corner, we're good, assuming that we can keep both our dudes. So if you're looking at, like, what's next, and we can't go tackle. I mean, what's Jackson? What do we got? B finesse, C power, 6'6", 266. I mean, does look solid. You know, some good running backs. Isaac Brown from Louisville is a stud. Are we gonna? How many? What? I'm gonna go with the clock on the board here. Like, whose contract's coming up? Assuming that we want to keep So next year we're going to be down. We need an edge rush. We need edge so bad. We're going to get probably all those 3 back. I mean, yeah, we'll reach here. Hopefully there's a good pick in Kenyatta Jackson. Falling out of the first round. Fuck. Bad pick. In case things get awkward with Zach Bond's contract, we got Ben Roberts here. Real nice linebacker from Texas Tech. Good value, roughly 138 at 120. So take a look at our draft recap. Carter Smith, 73 with a dev trade. Not bad. All things considered, we didn't trade up. We stayed put. We can work with that. Wish, like, the attributes might be a little better, but we have at least a tackle prospect that should develop into a nice starter for us. Outside of that, though, Marion Miller's nice. We got Rocco backup quarterback. Solid linebacker. Kenyatta Jackson. The second round just sucked. I'm going to be honest. In hindsight, probably should have seen if I could trade out of the second round and get better draft compensation next year when we get to a Madden generated class. But it is what it is. So to start year 3, man, this team needs a kick in the ass. 2 straight wildcard losses to the Detroit Lions. Not good enough. The returning Kellen Moore should be good. Offensively, right-hand side, big question marks. Carter Smith has the impossible job of trying to succeed Lane Johnson. And hopefully we have another, like, Mylata obscure success story as we got Willie Lampkin from the undraftable Utah Yeti series at 5'11", 290. Can he be our right guard? Well, we're about to find it. Because if not, that's going to be definitely one of our top priorities to improving this team next season. Defensively, we're good to go. Familiar faces, no real weakness. Love to see maybe one of these pass rushers step up. But also, if Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis continue to be our 1-2, they're paid. They're giving us great return on investment. So mid-season for the Philadelphia Eagles, we are 4-3. So not killing it as much as we were a year ago, but still not a terrible spot to be. We're playing, a first-place schedule. Got some legit opponents on the schedule. Look at that contracts. Well, we're going to start here with Keyon Mitchell, 4-year, 92.8. Got it done. We want, honestly, I think from an age standpoint, Cooper DeJean would be next up. Oh boy. 6-year, 146. Can get that done. But that now means, I think we could survive at linebacker. Zach Bond, awesome success story. Everybody knows it. But we have Nakobe Dean. We got him on an incredible contract extension. We have Jahad Campbell. Primarily 2 linebackers. Plus, Zach Bond looking for a 3-year deal at 30. He's already started to regress and lose some ratings. Not the end of the world. Love Nolan Smith. Love the upside. Reality is, hasn't really been that productive to justify contract extension. There's 0 re-sign interest. So that's just, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Everybody else, Jalek's on another guy that's just way better in real life than what he is in Madden. For what that's worth. Yeah. So we were able to keep the corners, but our salary cap is not in a great spot going forward. Live year number 3, back with Kellen Moore calling the plays. Eagles go 11-6, maybe not the win total jump we were expecting, but a top 5 offense, almost top 10 passing offense, back to the number 1 rushing offense, top 10 defense. Things are looking pretty good. Saquon, back-to-back years, leading the league in rushing. Hurts was solid. Was 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns. Picks her up a little bit. He is starting to get it. He's at that age where it's like really, really hard to develop him still. So he's pretty much as good as he's going to get at this point. Saquon killed it. Jalen Hurts, 3 rushing touchdowns thrown on, so 36 total. Pretty good. From a receiving standpoint, we did get 2,000-yard receivers. That is pretty sick. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns for A.J. Brown. 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns for Devonta Smith. Sadiq was productive. Johnny Wilson was productive. All, honestly, really good. First year, I'm really happy. Thank God Kellen Moore's back. Defensively, Jahad Campbell, Zach Bond, tackle machines. We got 10 sacks, Jalen Carter, 9.5 from Nolan Smith. Of course, he'd have his most productive game in the contract year. We can't afford to keep him. 6.5 on 10 TFLs for Jordan Davis for a nose tackle. That's great. 5.5 sacks there for Jalix Hunter. Interception numbers are fine. They're fine. Early award winner is Saquon Barkley winning running back of the year. We're going to do whatever it takes to not make it 3 straight wild card round losses. This one means just a little bit more. At least it's not the Lions, but it's even worse if we do lose. We got Dallas at home. Can't have 3 straight home playoff losses. Come on, Kellen. All right, Dallas scores first. Awesome. They score again. We've yet to be across midfield. And we're punting a lot. 6. Oh, 6. Oh, so sick, man. Fuck it. Coming in. You need me to hold your hand? Fucking score more than 15 points in a playoff game? God damn it. How about that? Is that the kick in the ass you need to finish this drive off? Field goal. Fucking embarrassing, man. Unfucking believable. 27 again. Nope. I know what we need to do. I know what we need to do. I know what we need to do. Here's what we need to do. We need to go into manage team schemes, New Orleans. Probably not a lot of difference. This is going to work. This is going to work. That's sick. Even more pressure. Nice little classic Super Bowl right there. But the Giants within their own division win. Okay. Now for our team. Dev trait regression. We lose the X factor on Devonta Smith. But we gain a superstar on Keyon Sadiq. Carter Smith, our Lane Johnson replacement, has an insane classic Jeff Stoutland plus 12. But once he loses that, once we start next year, it's gonna. So we lose the X factor on Jalen Carter. Okay. Okay. We got work to do, man. This is gonna be an offseason where we have to completely overhaul our pass rush by losing Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt. We have no one that can step up in that role, and we probably need to find a right guard that can start. I'm usually against contract, but I think we're going to accept that on Jahad Campbell because I think that's just for trying to operate within the sake of this rebuild, and we're desperate from a salary cap standpoint. That 16 mil a year is probably going to be less than what a contract extension would look like. But to Zach Bond, the Bald Eagle, and Nolan Smith, I'd keep you if I could. Can we keep Nolan Smith? Okay, one last thing we need to worry about. Salary cap is in a brutal spot, so we are going to stay put. I do want to see where Zach Bond goes for the Bald Eagle. Jahmyr Gibbs going to the Texans. Zach Bond going to the Jets. Wow. But this is a weird draft, man. Number one players are running back, which is kind of crazy. For our focus scouting, I scouted some pass rushers here. And looking at guys that were available in range, Cody Hill's a top 5 talent at pick 10 out of Florida. We also have Mahone, first, second rounder. Cabrera, a first rounder. Good information to know. Plus Cabrera, another Georgia Bulldog. Makes sense in real life. Our focus scout was interior lineman. We got some guys. We need a new starting guard. I got Contreras, first, second rounder. Franklin, Howtailing. Way down here, Butler, first, second rounder. At center, we got, I don't even need a center, but I guess Jurgen's contract is probably one of the worst. We got a top 5 player in Sergio Soto. So that's probably like 80 plus. There's value elsewhere. You got another first, second rounder here in Matthew Owens. Nothing else too crazy down there. Look at that final mock draft, man. Who's going where? Cody Hill's going at 6. Great. Medina, 14. Cabrera, 16. Okay, we're definitely not going tackle. Soto, top 5 talent, going 27. Kirkpatrick there. Okay. So I think we look at what the edge market looks like when we are on the clock here. What? Wait, what the fuck? We still got the top 5. We got Cabrera from Georgia. Thought they were still the top 5. Okay. Kirkpatrick, Cabrera. Cabrera, we did scout. A finesse, A tackle. Combine, great, elite, 3-cone. Okay, that checks. He's going to be probably pretty good. Left edge, we have Kirkpatrick. Didn't scout pretty much the inverse, but a power rusher. And, How's the power rusher have more juice than the speed rusher? I mean, we got, let's be honest, let's not overthink it. We got to trust the scouting here. Pass up on a top 5 talent center and get a round 1. Top 10 player, Julian Cabrera, number 7 in true value at pick 22. What? Oh, we need a guard. We have How Tailing, who's a scheme fit out of Miami, first, second round talent. 36 in true value at 54. We get our dev trait. Let's go. I'm not going to lie. In the 4th round, I think we still trust our board. Landon Dickerson's contract is not coming up. So I think just taking another first, second round type lineman, 40 in true value here. Dwight Butler with a dev trait gives us a little bit of flexibility there. So we started the offseason. Really the big move in the offseason. We fired Sirianni. He's even more of just a cheerleader head coach because we have gone with Kellen Moore's offense. And then, well, no dev trait. I mean, hey, if you're not going to get a dev trait, 8 overall at pick 22, you'll take that every day of the week. We got 274 dev trait guards. We got a 71 running back. Give us a little juicier out of Michigan. Good scheme fit. Overall, we're really happy with this class, but such a weird first round, man. There was a running back, the top player. There was a fullback that got mocked in the first round. So Carlos Mackey. Wow. Okay. I'm going to say looks pretty good. What's the X factor, I assume? Yep, okay. So kind of a generational guy there. There was a fullback that went in the first round as well. He's probably, what, in the 80s? Soto, that center is an 81. Look, yeah, it was full X. He went first pick of the second round. Trevor Wallace, 78. This is an X factor fullback, superstar fullback. Something weird for him to get drafted that high. Yeah, okay, that checks out. What a weird class. We got new faces going into year 4. Right guard situation looks a little different. Defensively, we got, shiny new pass rusher in Cabrera out of Georgia, getting those Bulldogs. Happy they were able to retain Nolan Smith. No idea. I think could have a rough salary cap situation here going from year 4 into year 5, pending. But, we're a team now fully committed to letting Kellen Moore lead this team for year 4 and year 5. Ignore that clown, that Super Bowl winning, one of the best win percentage coaches of all time, clown in the top right hand of the screen. All right, the good news, going with Kellen Moore, we are 6-1. Is that surprising? We no longer have the stink of a Sirianni offense on the team. Not surprising whatsoever. But, while it's good, this is probably going to be the most pivotal part from a roster management standpoint. Because we don't have a Super Bowl win. If we already had a Super Bowl win, we'd be like, okay, maybe those tough decisions become a little easier. Year 4 to year 5, from a contract standpoint, we have $93 million of cap, which is solid. Look at who we have to re-sign. Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Saquon Barkley, Makuba, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Hurts. We're so screwed, man. Jalen Hurts, 304. I have no idea what that's going to cost. Devonta Smith, we can get you in. We're going to be able to pay Jalen Hurts. Kind of have to pay Jalen Hurts. But we're going to need to replace Makuba. In this scenario, I think pay Jalen Hurts and then restructure so we can keep Mailata. Those would be the two must-haves. Fortunately for Saquon, a running back at 31 with a tight budget just isn't feasible. And Dickerson, we just drafted 2 dev trait guards. And we just got hit with the we're franchise tagging Jalen Hurts. That's where we're at. Good news, NFC's champs again, 3rd time. Feels pretty good. Offensive ratings, everything's fine. But we can't get that first round bye. So we are, and again, we get a team here in Tampa Bay who's very much been a pain in the ass of the Philadelphia Eagles. For whatever reason, they always play really good against us. Oh, no. Jalen Hurts wants $300 million, and that's the kind of year you're putting up. Devonta Smith crushed it, got him his extension. AJ 6. What the fuck? Oh man. Oh no. And then like our drafted edge rusher got 2 sacks. Expensive secondary. We got 4 picks between like $100 million corners. Man, this is not the rebuild I needed after this 2 straight losses IRL. Well, now we went from literally every, year 2 and year 3. I kind of expect us to go win it all. No expectations. Maybe that's what needs to change here for us to go on a big win. We got a snow game here against Tampa Bay, right? That should favor us. Weather conditions, run the football, Saquon, etc., and we're losing. So that's where we're at. Yeah, I have a very expensive defense that I'd love to see clutch up. And I fucking hate my life. What the fuck is this? Oh, now we go. I know what we gotta do. It's just vibes. Nick's fired officially, even though we've unofficially already fired him a couple times. Get off my fucking team. Now, what I have gone ahead and done, Mike McDonald of the Seattle Seahawks. That's our new head coach, unofficially. Kellen Moore OC, Mike McDonald coming over from Seattle. I don't know why they fired him. He was there, even though Pat Phoenix is now officially here in title only. We're going Seahawks. But our team from a dev trait standpoint, well, yeah, when your offense underperforms the way that ours has from a passing attack standpoint, you're just going to cannibalize your receivers. Devonta Smith down to a startup. Jalen Hurts doesn't regress. Maybe the firing of Nick Sirianni could give him more motivation because, as much as that makes this interesting, I'm going into year 5. There's not going to be a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts available. Can't draft a quarterback better than Jalen Hurts. I'm looking at the defense. We lose doubled. Jalen Carter was an X factor not too long ago. Now he just sucks, I guess. Our 2 X factor corners aren't getting box score stats, which for their price point, you can't just, from a casual standpoint, just be getting off the field. You need to get turnovers. So we're going to franchise tag Jalen Hurts. Got to do it. Gotta restructure some guys as well. Gotta get creative here. We were able to restructure Devonta Smith. I'm gonna release Cam Jurgens to free up another $12 million. Restructured both Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. With all that, able to get Jordan Mailata on the books. We're gonna be going into an offseason where we need a new starting safety, a new starting running back, we should be good at guard, but that's gonna be really, really tough. First round running back, I mean, come on, give me something. Give me a good role. All right, Focus Scouts, I'm going to go with the running backs that have the best letter grades, and safety Angulo, where you can see right behind he has 8-man coverage. That could absolutely replace Andrew Makuba. So we get a legit first-round grade on Angulo, who, we'll double-check the mock draft, should be available. For the running backs, try to replace Penn State with Penn State. Keenan, second, third rounder, but we did get a first-round grade here on Aries Hall, who, it seems pretty obvious why. Letter grades are on point, and he runs a 4.340 at 235 pounds. And I think knowing how important a running back is, make sure he's not going in the first round. You never know. As soon as we kind of unveil and unlock talent like that, they tend to go pretty early. So we get a center. Currently mocked to get a center. Well, okay. I'm thinking we get that safety. We do need a center too because we get rid of Cam Jurgens. But I think we go safety first round, trade up, get that running back in the second round, center with our best remaining pick left. All right, so the first round, we have Angulo. First round talent, easy. There's our Drew Makubu replacement. Please be good. 19th in true value at 29. And we get a dev trait. Honestly, haven't had the best dev trait luck in this rebuild. Can't really blame the lack of success on that, but it's been annoying. Now we're playing a game. We're in the second round. Do we just keep skipping until there's a run on running backs, or do we make sure we get our guy? I think I'm going to call Minnesota and get our guy. I severely overpaid with a 2, 2 threes, and a 4. You gotta get aggressive here to try to win a Super Bowl year 5. And with that, we're gonna go get our Saquon Barkley replacement in Aries Hall here out of Auburn. Letter grades are on point. 20. We get player 19 and player 20 in our draft, and he does come with a depth trait. Very nice. 6'1", 235, 92 speed. That'll do. And now, would you kind of run the board? We need a center. And I'll be honest, we got all of our scouting done here. Okay, we got Medellin, second, third rounder. Couple first, seconds here. I don't know. We got like a round 1 here in Huntington. I'm going to be desperate. I'm going to cheese. I'm going to make this guy. I mean, at 6'5", 303, that's a center convert if I've ever seen one. That's way too small to play guard in the NFL. There's our center. I just got to draft lineman. Close out this draft. Got to replace Jake Elliott as well. We have Perkins. B kick accuracy, has elite kick power. He should be fairly solid. 109. Not bad. Get a dev trait. All right, so looking at the final draft of the rebuild. Everybody above, we had to put our best foot forward. 73 long snapper, had to pretty much replace our entire special teams. Got that. Got lineman. Now Huntington, the plan is 75 to move him to center. I think we'll get punished a little bit by hitting his rating a little bit. That's fair. Fair cost of doing business with you. I would guess from 75 probably down to 73. 74, so a 1-point regression. That kind of sucks. Hall, 75 with a dev trait. Angulo, 76 with a dev trait. For kind of blowing up our team, we needed a safety to replace Makuba. Got one. Needed a running back to replace Saquon. Probably not going to replace Saquon, but a 75 dev trait running back in the second round. That'll do. Had to replace Jurgens at center. Got a nice dev trait lineman that can fill in at center. Got to replace Jake Elliott. Got a dev trait kicker. Pretty much the perfect draft we could have without landing like a clear generational guy. And a pretty good class, man. Couple nice 80-plus DBs. A D tackle up there. We've completely clean shop from a coaching standpoint. Very surprised, though. We're going to year 5 with no Super Bowl. We've done enough rebuilds where we've seen Philly win the Super Bowl. We've seen Philly make a Super Bowl. The fact that we haven't got a fucking playoff win. Oh, man. And this is getting the same treatment as our other rebuilds. When we do a rebuild and don't win a Super Bowl, it gets marked. And when we come back through, once we do all 32 teams, we rebuild the ones that didn't get a Super Bowl. No. We don't win a Super Bowl here. We're going to be screwed. Our salary cap is in a terrible spot. We got Jalen Hurts playing on a franchise tag. But, we got hopefully new Saquon Barkley. We got hopefully with Mike McDonald and Kellen Moore, super coaching staff, offense and defense. But huge turnover on the offense. Jordan Mailata is the only carryover. Feel pretty good about it, but it's definitely gone from an elite offensive line to like a solid high upside offensive line. Defensively, the talent's there. The dev traits might not look the best, but we do got still our 3 X factors in Q, Cooper DeJean, Jahad Campbell, Nakobe Dean solid. We got Nolan Smith solid. The safety room should be good. The defensive line, while there's no dev traits, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis have been our most consistent pass rushers in this whole rebuild. I think Mike McDonald's going to get these boys playing. I think just getting rid of Nick Sirianni is what we need to do. That was the missing piece to go on and find success here in year 5. But because we've yet to get that Super Bowl, we are 5-1. Great spot to be, coming off a nice win over the Raiders, where Jalen Kilgore gets Defensive Player of the Week. We do need to look at contracts, because if we don't win a Super Bowl this year, we got to come back and try to fix it. Now, we have an insane amount of salary cap space, which is great. We'll start Jahad Campbell, $111 million. Got to kind of do that deal. Jalen Carter, kind of need to do that deal. Ugh. Then we got a bunch of we'll see's. Jordan Davis has been solid, but at 29, Nakobe Dean at 28, AJ Brown at 32, looking for a 2-year extension. Nolan Smith's been solid. Jair Hill's developed into a real nice corner for us. I didn't even comment. He got a dev trade increase last year from normal up to a star. And of course, none of these guys are really interested. So I think we take this to the offseason. And obviously, we have enough money to keep some, maybe even most of these guys. But the first big hurdle here is obviously Jalen Hurts with an extension. Let's see how well he plays this year. Because last year, he had 25 passing touchdowns or whatever. Still no playoff wins since IRL. I don't know if he's worth that money. We have our first dev trade on Veldo Angulo. Superstar dev safety. That's an upgrade over what we had. And not all USC safeties are that USC safety cheese that if you play enough Madden, you know what I'm talking about. This guy's real damn good. Also know Huntington's dev trade at center. It is a star. We're still waiting to see what the running back has. We got a big win there. Jalen Hurts in Week 9 Offensive Player of the Week. We need to see more of that. He didn't have any last year on a very down season. Looking reinvigorated with no more Sirianni dark cloud hanging over the heads of all these Eagle players. All right, drum roll. We had an ugly win over. An ugly win is still good as a pretty win. We are 8-1 this season. More in line with the expectations for the roster that we have. But we also get to figure out what Aries Hall's dev trade is. Now, I don't love the fact that we have to make him a scheme fit here, but it is what it is. Comes with the territory of running a Kellen Moore offense. But is dev trade, hey, superstar dev. Let's go. And it's not a huge discrepancy. Sometimes you get power backs that are absolutely nothing like an elusive receiving. It's close enough. It's not going to be the end of the world. Continuing to developing him as a scheme fit for the perfect archetype. Because as you know, that is a house rule for us to kind of combat some of the cheesy XP upgrades that exist in Madden 26 franchise. Now, at the end of year number 5, I don't want to. It's a niche nitpick. We've had great records. We've not got a first round bye. And with our track record in the wild card, that's just brutal rolls. But we do get our 4th NFC East title in 5 years. Our ratings, number 1 defense, almost a top 5 offense. So we got great return on investment with the coordinators. Taking a look at the stats, Jalen Hurts, I think if we don't win and we come back for, part 2 of this rebuild, I think we probably let the man looking for $300 million still. It might be time to usher in a new era. Our run game definitely, not Saquon Barkley, even though Hall looks like a great player with a great dev trait and a high ceiling. Not a Saquon rookie campaign for sure. We got Devonta Smith over 1,000 yards. A.J. Brown, I think much like Jalen Hurts, we're kind of at that breaking point. I think Keyon Sadiq developed into a great player. We're just not maximizing his skill set. That might be another player. Like, I'm looking at those pending free agents if we come back. Sadiq, Brown, and Jalen Hurts might be gone, all things considered there. Defensively, Jahad Campbell was solid, and Kobe Dean was solid. We got 11 sacks, Jalen Carter, so that should probably get his superstar dev trade back. Jordan Davis was really solid. Nolan Smith was, the Bulldogs doing what they need to do. And from a pick standpoint, again, how much money we have invested in the secondary, I wish they were getting more turnovers. Now, because it is, and by the way, no award winners, year 5, this is just get a full regular season recap of what all our players were able to accomplish in this rebuild. Jalen Hurts, just under 35,000 yards passing, 247 touchdowns to 73 picks. He had some great years. He was quarterback of the year 1 and year 2 of this rebuild. But since then, he's been fine, I think. Obviously, there's the scrambling numbers, very good in comparison. Receiving, we're just under 12,000 yards for A.J. Brown, 90 touchdowns. Around 9,500 yards, 78 touchdowns for Devonta Smith. Keyon Sadiq was solid. Just one of those things where, in real life, I think it'd be a home run draft pick for the Eagles. The reality in Madden is tight end just doesn't really eat in our scheme. So maybe it wasn't the best use of resources. Shame on me for thinking that we'd utilize the tight end. Jahad Campbell, awesome. What a freaking player. Up to a superstar X factor. Just under 700 tackles, 19 TFLs, 11.5 sacks, 9 picks. Does it all. 54 sacks here for Jalen Carter. 43.5 from Nolan Smith. 36.5 from a nose tackle. Jordan Davis is also very good. 14 picks, Quinion Mitchell. 10 from Cooper DeJean. 9 from Jahad Campbell. And Jair Hill has really carved out a nice career for himself after being a little bit of like a second round normal dev draft pick. Oh, no. Well, let's see if somehow we can go 0-5 in wildcard games. And it'd be so awesome, just awesome to lose to the Giants. I will 1,000% hop in. You're not, If I hop in, though, this game, I will not even consider hopping in the divisional round. We got to earn it. But I just, from the sake of, this is my Saturday. I spent most of rivalry college football weekend Saturday playing this and watching the Eagles be unbelievably literally unbelievably bad. So that's kind of where we're at. Big field goal, down 1. And here we go. We're going to hop in. Fuck this, man. This is unbelievable. And it's unbelievable. It'd be understandable if, like, the Eagles are never good. Like, there are teams I'm rebuilding the Detroit Lions, right? Detroit Lions in real life, pretty good. Detroit Lions in Madden, I don't think I've ever seen them make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Just one of those schemes and teams. And we had, fuck, are you kidding me? Dexter Lawrence in coverage. We're going to stay here on offense. Philly's good. This is a team that is very good in the Madden sim. They are almost, I'd say at minimum 25% of the time, they're the team you will see in the Super Bowl from the NFC side of the bracket. The fact that we've been this terrible in this rebuild leads me to believe, like, it's just the perfect storm of dog shit. So I don't have any issue being like, we're currently experiencing the anomaly of Philadelphia in the Madden 26 world. So we got to do everything in our power not to make this Saturday an absolute waste of time. Now, if we don't win the Super Bowl, that's a different story. I think coming back and rebuilding the Eagles, like after the failures that we've had, let's go another big play, is kind of interesting. That's an interesting challenge. As Jalen Hurts has 2 fucking interceptions here today. But them just being miraculously bad for no reason is, like, especially from, like, regular season. Our regular season stats have been pretty damn good. This whole rebuild. Everybody's, like, our passing offense, I mean, from a yardage standpoint, is what it is. But, like, generally speaking, not a lot of complaints. But this is borderline unbelievable. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds the team that's never bad is bad when we control them? That's kind of where we're at. And I feel like those odds are not particularly great. But there we go. We got Devonta Smith single-handedly putting this offense on his back. As we try to navigate what life for Philadelphia looks like 5 years in, dealing with their salary cap situation. We go right to the running back. But I just, there's, first of all, might not even win this game, but I do feel like if I maybe win this game, we're not going far. We're probably going to lose. There's just bad vibes. Do we blame it on the Cowboys ratings guy? Did he program the Eagles to suck ass for today? Did he go in and hot fix the Eagles to make them horrifically bad? Well, we'll find out. Come on, we have the #1 defense in the NFL. There we go. Nice little, held their hand, spoon-fed them, open up with the airplane. Might have had to do that to get us one fucking playoff win, but we did. Jalen Hurts did not look good. Jalen Hurts is not getting a contract extension. Look at that run game. What? In what world should the Eagles' run offense look like that? Or, inverse of that is, man, it looks like the real-life Eagles' run offense. Shout out Jordan Davis with 2 sacks. Shout out Cooper DeJean with a big-time interception. The Eagles roll on, but, again, I will commit hands off on the next game. If we're going to win, we're going to win. If we're going to lose, it's not meant to be. All right, not a bad roll. Speaking of terrible sim teams, Minnesota, they're terrible. I don't think Justin Jefferson gets more than like 700 receiving yards in the sim. So, wow, they actually went ahead. They drafted Jordan Tyson. They have 3 wide receivers as their best players. This is a great time for our secondary to shut them down and help us get a win. But it does feel like maybe a movable object versus the, irresistible force. 2 shit sim teams. Who is, at least in this rebuild, who is going to find a way to get through? I cannot control the Eagles, so I hope to God we win. But not looking great. Our offense is very much struggling here. Missing Saquon Barkley. But, we have a Super Bowl MVP. We can win ugly. Let's go. 17-10. Pat Phoenix, by way of Kellen Moore and Mike McDonald, able to scheme a victory and get this Eagles team into an NFC Championship game. Jalen Hurts not playing good. Run game a little bit better. Pass game, Aries Hall steps up, gives his best Saquon Barkley impression. Defensive side of the ball, sack and a half Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith getting after it. We get a depth guy, but Cooper DeJean, 2 playoff games, 2 picks. He is on fire this playoff run. And we get the 1 seed. The 1 and 2 seed meet in the Super Bowl, the 2 best teams in the NFC. We get the 14-3 Green Bay Packers, who are the first offense, second defense. Eagles go into this matchup, considerable underdogs on the road at Lambeau Field. All right, come on. Let's see something here, man. We got championship parade. This is a Packers era that hasn't won anything, and an Eagles team that has. This is an Eagles team that has dominated the series with the Green Bay Packers during the Jalen Hurts era. But, I don't know. We're down. We're settling. We got 2 straight field goals in red zone appearances. We're missing at 2-point conversions. Our defense is playing out of their minds, but all it's good that Green Bay's, they're not settling for field goals. They're scoring touchdowns. Ooh! Ooh! Yes! Let's go! Eagles in the Super Bowl! Year 5 Super Bowler buzz, 22-17 over the Packers. And Jalen Hurts continues to own Green Bay. And he plays his best football game. Doesn't turn the football over. Doesn't really help the team. Doesn't hurt the team. Whereas Jordan Love hurts the team. Did not have a particularly good game. Super efficient football. Jalen Hurts did get in the end zone with a rushing touchdown. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith doing what they do best. Defensively, a couple sacks. Kobe Dean with the pick. And to Birds in year 5, we have a chance for this to be a successful rebuild. There's no way. Okay, we get the Browns. We can't lose to the Browns. 9-8. They've turned it around. Got Fernando Mendoza at quarterback. He's playing real well. I'll tell you right now, I just put a nice little, threw some cash on Mendoza to win the Heisman. You can double your money still. Felt pretty good odds. Judkins is playing really well. They have 2,000 receivers in Parker Washington and Jerry Jeudy. Pretty wild wide receiver core, to be honest with you. Defensively, though, they got tackles, machines. Anthony Smith, Mason Grant. They still got Myles Garrett, veteran at this point, so a very nice pass rush. Not a lot of turnovers in the secondary, though. I feel like we should kind of cakewalk to a Super Bowl here, but the way this rebuild's gone, generally, we're probably going to lose. Embarrassing fashion to the Browns. Come on, Jalen. Been here before. 1 game. In the context of this, if we win and this rebuild just was going on in made-up world, this is your final game as an Eagle. How are you going to be remembered? As a 2-time Super Bowl champion or a guy that's 1-2 in 3 Super Bowls? Opening drive for the Eagles offense scores 2 straight scores. Let's go, Birds. Cleveland and Fernando Mendoza playing efficient football. Anything we do, they seem to be able to have an answer and response. Field goal, Philly. 3-point lead. 17-17. Everything to play for here. Let's go in live. Let's go in. Not like. First and goal. Nothing. Second and goal. You say the relationship is shattered. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. Huge touchdown. Touchdown lead. 2 minutes to go. Fernando Mendoza. Why did it say Jalen Carter had a kickoff? What? Come on, Madden. Fix your game. 3rd and 1. Boom. They get a first down, but they're taking their time. Maybe they're just running their best plays. The best plays they got. We got a 3rd and 2 here. Boom. First down. Good play. 10 yards. Elijah Moore. Ooh. They go backwards. Nolan Smith. Big time pass rush. Clock's rolling. Ooh, this is the game. 4th and 3. And it is a turnover, a throwaway. And, Vic Fangio's retired, long retired. But Mike McDonald, Kellen Moore. Needed that, man. Needed that for this Saturday. Our team was, if we didn't win this, revisiting this rebuild down the line would have been terrible. It would not have been a good time. And all it took was 4 years of the stink of Nick Sirianni. Be it us demoting him, but he was still like up there in the top corner. He was still watching us from the press box. Had to outright fire, had to bring in the legendary Pat Phoenix, but more so, Kellen Moore offense, Mike McDonald defense, a super team of coordinators. That is the blueprint that the Eagles have used in the past to win a Super Bowl. And that is what we do right here in year 5 against the Cleveland Browns to become Super Bowl champions yet again. 3rd Super Bowl in Eagles history, 2nd for Jalen Hurts. Hell yeah. There we go, fellas. That will do it for today's video. A successful, realistic rebuild for the Philadelphia Eagles. For all my Eagle fans here on the channel that are down bad like me. I mean, I don't think many of us would want to wait another 5 years to win a Super Bowl. But, you know, let's not get greedy. Put everything in perspective. The fact that we're able to get this done feels very good. Next rebuild will be the Detroit Lions. Again, halfway done that. I'm probably, maybe Monday, that will be out. I'm going to try also to get something out to you guys tomorrow on Sunday, be it another Raiders episode or Yetis episode, but we gotta wait and see. We're, you know, holidays and stuff like that. Got family over. But, yeah, if it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Leave a comment on what team you want to see rebuilt next after the Detroit Lions. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one. Go Birds!